Sure. So we started working with QuantumDigital about 3 years ago. Where's Joanna? 3 or 4 years ago. And previous to that, direct mail and using your database, again, because at the home office, no visibility, it was sort of like, we would make recommendations, but not really have good tools in place. And so when we found QuantumDigital, we wanted to put in place something that was easy to use, completely on demand, because we had horrible problems with our previous provider where we had a shell program and it was like 8 weeks lead time. It was terrible. And what we essentially ended up with was going back to, okay, you need to communicate with people in your database. You've already paid a lot of money for these leads. And here's a tool that is flexible, easy to use. We started out with postal mail. We added email as that solution came on board. And we have a routine where we habitually populate this solution with seasonal pieces that are integrated with a lot of our other messaging going on. And we attempt to hound franchisees. It largely does not work because it's like the third, a third, a third. A third are listening and they're the users. A third completely ignore you. And a third will listen to you only after you are in their face for about 57 hours. So, we're always working on, and they've been great partners with us in terms of pushing out communications from their system to our franchisees to get usership. So,
are you the same as your other customers where it's very discretionary? I mean, the economy has pulled back a lot of people in this arena. Is it the same in your world? It
is discretionary, and I was speaking earlier that our marketing and advertising funding base is largely tied to revenue. And so once they have met their requirements for their license agreement, it's easy to sort of slip back and say, you know what, I'm not going to do extra. Or quite honestly, I'm a little scared by this. I don't understand this capability. I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm going to do what I'm more comfortable with, which might be putting up posters at my school or just sending a check to the National Advertising Fund because I have to do that and they do all the work for me. So it's sort of an exercise in herding cats to get people educated enough and motivated because they believe in the return on investment that they're going to get from the activity.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. Before you had these tools, was your brand out of control?
It was definitely more out of control than we would have liked because essentially the old program was so poor that franchisees were motivated to go outside a band. And so they were motivated to work with whoever locally and have the, black on red postcard, and completely just bad.
Remember I said our salespeople couldn't sell. Didn't say a client couldn't for us. Oh, I'm just kidding. Okay, your program is very extensive. I've seen your marketing calendar, and it's very impressive. And you've got a number of what I call them marketing elements in it that really help your folks. Can you give us a little heads up as to what a franchisee would look at when they go in the system?
Sure. Well, we have quarterly promotional calendars that come out from the home office, as well as a kit. And the kit includes not only some pre-produced items, like very large posters and things that we can do in bulk, but also a lot of guidelines. And it talks about, we call this the Sylvan One-to-One Direct Mail Service Bureau. You will have posted 2 or 3 different printed pieces in various sizes, 2 or 3 different email templates that you can use, some of which are much more customizable than others. And it gives guidelines for, if you're going to calendarize your approach for the next quarter, start with your report card dates because those are triggers, work backward from there. We don't have a field marketing staff, which if any of you work with franchise organizations, that might have been your experience. That was my experience at Domino's. We had a very extensive staff. So my role was actually to do all of that work. And at Sylvan, it's the franchisee that has to do that in addition to running their business. So, it's tough. But what they get are a lot of guidelines, a lot of coaching, a lot of support. A lot of support is built into our platform here. And they can come to the portal and they can enter, you saw a minute ago, either look at postal mail, email. They can also access, as you see here, print-on-demand newsletters. A lot of content is provided for them. So we try and make it as easy as possible and as customizable as possible. So doing a lot of heavy lifting and then allowing them to really tailor to their marketplace.
Okay. Giving you some examples of some campaigns we ran. There's a campaign we do every year. We go to DMA. Who goes to DMA? Most people go to, or some people go to DMA. We have done pre-show mailers. We send people to a general URL. We follow up with an email reminder, and then we always do a post-show offer. We call this the seesaw, where we're combining email, combining a web page, sometimes a personal web page, depending how much content we know, and we also use email. And the goal last year was to get people to see a demo we had on this product called MapMail. So you can see some stats along the way with a general URL. And I almost think some of this is overrated, pearls and girls, but we've tried a number of them. We had about a 5% lift.
Don't agree.
You agree? Don't. You don't agree? Well, okay, let's argue that then. Pearls are more effective for us. Girls, we have a lower response rate. But we've had people phone us and say, hey, that's a website about me personally and my family. You need to take it down. I mean, some people have a negative reaction to that, and some just don't understand it.
Are you prospecting, or are you speaking to someone who already raised their hand to you?
You know, this is a prospect list.
Bingo.
Yeah, it's the quality of the list. Ah, there you go. You're right.
Sometimes.
Say again?
Sometimes, not always.
You're always right. We had a 5% land from the 4 or 3,500 that were mailed, and when we sent out an email reminder, 4% of those people came on and saw the video, and then the post-show offer, 6% came on and saw the video as well. So the results weren't dramatic, but it was enabled to get visibility and awareness around a new product we had. We found that a couple things. We always have to have an offer, a good offer to drive people. And at this point, our own marketing team executed this campaign, created the campaign, and it was, we use these seesaws back and forth. So we're getting smarter. One seesaw we did that was really, really, and this is the list. We did this for a real estate audience, and our VP of marketing had a list of 50 people. We personalized a greeting card from her. We then put it together with a personal invite to come on down and visit us and talk to them. And we had some personal, very personal content there about their business. We then timed out an email series which talked about, we love real estate, don't be shy. It had some information. And again, we're trying to get more personal data about the company. And then here we had a personal URL that talked about them and talked about us. And we tried to understand their pains and then pitch back to them their pains specifically to them. Much more effective campaign. Much more effective. So you're right. Look at, on this list, Sarah, we had 50, and we ended up with 15 discovery sessions on the phone, 4 proposals, and so far 2 closed business deals.
Well, I was just going to add that when Sylvan uses pearls or girls, as you say, the couple of things, don't go there if you don't have good content, because it's really uninteresting if you try and motivate somebody and they go there and it's like, what the heck is this? I got nothing. So you really have to be mindful of content, and it's hard. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys are responsible for content development, but when you really sit down and you think about the data that you have available that you should be using intelligently, it is difficult to digest it in a way as to make it, actionable for you to create a relevant message. And you got to test into it and really figure out what is a wow, what is a thank you, what is a, boy, this really helped me. It answered a question. It did something for me that I was looking for. And so it may be, this fantastic new thing that people come and ask for, but if you don't really have a purpose for it, I would stay away from it for the time being.
Yeah, I think you're right. The biggest thing we found in this campaign is the more personalized data, these blocks, we put personal data in these blocks, the higher the response rate was. No question about it. you have, there are some personalization aspects of your program, but more